And at some point, you realize the past doesn't have to define you. The detours, the setbacks, the closed doors, they're all part of the story, your story. And here, we're all about second chances, fresh starts, and those moments that change everything. Welcome to the Breakthrough Sessions podcast, where we talk about the messy, the beautiful, and the in between. Because every ending is just the beginning of something new. I'm Refilwe, and this is the rebirth. Let's get into it. Hi guys, I'm just recording a quick video, just letting you know that the next few episodes of the Breakthrough Sessions podcast are going to be repeat episodes. Reason being, I thought it would be great to spend this Easter weekend and then in 2 weeks' time, the first weekend in May, which is kind of a long weekend, just take some time to walk down memory lane at some of my best episodes from the past. And also for new people who are just getting to know me now, giving them an indication of how things were like for me a couple of years back. As some of you know, I am on season 3 of my podcast, and I started my podcast journey back in 2020. So yeah, I wanted to also take some time to spend time with my family and friends and just recuperate. There's also been some things that have been happening behind the scenes that I wanted to just take a minute to pull myself towards myself. But you will be seeing some of that in my journey as the next few weeks progress, either on social media or then in my podcast. So I'm not leaving you behind. I just wanted to take a break as well and just take a minute to myself. But I also want to make sure that the consistency continues. So I thought it would be a great opportunity to just bring some episodes back from the vault. and I hope you guys will enjoy it. I think it'll be a nice reminiscing moment as well for those of you who have listened to the episodes. And I think it will give you an idea of the kind of person that I was back in the day. So it'll be 2 episodes, and then after that, we'll be continuing with our scheduled programming. So please do have a great Easter season. Have a great long weekend. For those who are in South Africa, enjoy the next few long weekends that will be coming, and we'll chat on my socials or we'll chat over on my podcast. Cool.
Don't try to overhaul your life overnight. Instead, focus on making one small change at a time. Over time, those small changes will add up to a big transformation. Don't give up. Quote unknown. Welcome to this episode, everybody. I'm so glad that you dedicated time out of your day for this episode, and that even during these hardships, you're still able to make some time towards working on yourself and helping yourself in pursuit towards finding your breakthrough. The quote that you just heard was, as I said, unknown. And it's just about, sometimes you don't have to take big steps and big strides towards overcoming something that you're going through. Sometimes it's also in the little steps and the small steps that you can take to help just push you and propel you into a new transformation towards your life. So it's not just about the big stuff, guys. That being said, I'm going to delve into this episode, and it's basically about microsteps that are too small to fail. Before I get a little bit too deep into that, I just want to apologize for the muffled sound that you can hear in the background and a bit of the static noise. Guys, as you know, in South Africa, we are in a lockdown, and it has created some restrictions in terms of movements for all of us. In my case, I have unfortunately been separated from my equipment for the time being, but I did not want that to stop me from releasing an episode. I still feel like it's still about the content at the end of the day that counts. So yeah, please just bear with me and just try and focus on the reason why I released this episode. Also, I know I promised you guys that you are going to get some guests in my series. please don't worry, the guests are coming soon. As I did mention before, the lockdown has created some restrictions in terms of movement, so my guests have been put on hold. So just please be mindful of that, and just know that guests will be coming very soon. Okay, so back to the episode. As I mentioned before, I'm talking about micro steps that are too small to fail. I'm sure you're asking yourselves, what is that? Like, what are micro steps to even begin with? The reason why I chose this topic is because, so a few weeks ago, I released an episode on academic failure, and I gave you a couple of tips on how to just help you push through any type of failure that you have experienced at varsity, and how you can just maybe shift that or change that in your favor. And I included some tips. If you haven't listened to the episode, I really do encourage that you go back and you listen to that episode. But the tips are included in this episode as well. So I'm just going to read them to you so that you are aware of why there's a difference between big steps and small steps. The steps that I mentioned in the previous episode were rather big steps. But like I mentioned before, it's not necessarily about just the big steps. Sometimes it's the small steps that just create a transformation in your life. So those big steps were essentially, the first one was do your research. The second one was speak to and consult with lecturers and faculty student advisors. And just as a sub step, always make sure that you have a passion or at least a curiosity for the degree that you're studying, because that goes a long way towards success. The third step, develop an action plan. And the fourth step, do the emotional work on yourself. So all those steps are basically what could help you just make a change once you've experienced some form of failure, just to help you improve on whether it is redoing the module, or if you want to transfer from one degree to another, or even if you don't think that varsity is for you at all. Those are the steps that you could have thought about to help you just make a very informed decision. And like I mentioned, those steps are rather big steps that you have to have taken at some point in your degree if you feel like you want to make a transformational change. So today's steps are a bit smaller, micro steps if you will, and these are steps that you can do all day, any day, at any point in your life to just help you make the change that you need to make, because sometimes the smaller changes can lead to a big transformation. And these are the ones that you can do to work on yourself, and it doesn't require too much from you. These steps that are dubbed micro steps, they are too small to fail. And they come from a lady by the name of Arianna Huffington. I don't know if you know her. Just a little bit on her. So Miss Arianna Huffington is the founder of the Huffington Post in the UK, the founder and CEO of Thrive Global, and the author of 15 books, including most recently Thrive and the Sleep Revolution. So, in 2016, she launched Thrive Global, a corporate and consumer well-being and productivity platform with the mission of changing the way we work and live by ending the collective delusion that burnout is the price we must pay for success. So I gravitated really well towards this mantra, this reason for why Arianna created this organization, because I thought that, first of all, the way she was tackling well-being from almost a different standpoint made it just all the while worth it, and just so much more attractive, especially for those of us who are so busy, who are always on the move. You know, we can't exactly make drastic changes to our lives, to our routines, and I felt like this is also a different standpoint on making a change, and it's basically just taking the small steps towards helping you just work on yourself. So I wanted to just delve into how these steps have helped me, because I actually worked on these steps when I decided to make the change to another degree. And these were small things that I wanted to change in my life because I wanted to do the work on myself and just, I guess, repay the broken part of me that had occurred because of failing. So these were things that also added up to just molding me and helping me to deal with the consequences of failure, And I like the fact that it didn't take so much from me. I really just had to be patient, trust the process, and didn't have to put in too much effort, but I felt like I was already reaping results. So I just want to talk to you today and share with you some tips that I got from the Thrive organization. And for more on that, I would encourage you to just check out the article on the Thrive website. I will drop it in the show notes below. And maybe you can also adopt some more of the steps to just help change your life in small steps. So let's get to it. These are a few tips from Arianna Huffington herself that you can also apply in your journey towards growth in pursuit towards finding your breakthrough. So let's get into it. Tip number 1. Sit down when you eat, even for a few minutes. So this one is profound in the sense that sometimes when you're eating on the move, the food doesn't really settle the way it should in your stomach. And that can cause things like bloating and indigestion, and even just make you feel uncomfortable. And it's just so important to just sit down while you're eating, even if it is for a few minutes, because eating while you're settled helps your food to just move down your body as normal and helps it to settle the way it should. It might not seem like it's a big deal, and I do understand that there are times when we're all busy and on the go, but even if you can just dedicate 5 minutes to sitting in the car or sitting on the floor, wherever you are, and just having a meal instead of standing and moving around, it makes a world of difference. I know that I prefer sitting down and eating almost all the time as compared to standing, because the food just settles a lot better in that case. And it just allows your body to feel more lighter and more airy because you digested the food normally. So I would advocate for that. And it just helps you to make a meal out of it and prevents you from having to feel hungrier later on. It makes a whole meal out of it, and you'll be less tempted to snack afterward. So, yeah. Moving on. Take a planned detour. I know what you're thinking. If that happens, I can end up in a shady alley. I don't know where I am. I could get kidnapped or like mugged or something crazy like that. And that is true. We still have to remember the country that we live in. Just by that, still know your environment. Still be aware of the environment that you're in. And also do it with friends or with a group of people that you're comfortable with. Sometimes it helps to just give you more creative insight when you're in a new environment and you're able to think about your whereabouts. It makes you more present, makes you more aware, and it just opens your mind to whatever is there at the time. And yeah, makes you just be present in the moment. Doing that from time to time can really just open your mindset to thinking a lot more beyond the comfort of living in an area that you already know or visiting an area that you already know. I actually have a friend who, when she wants to take a breath of fresh air, she just go out of her place and walk. She doesn't necessarily have a destination. She doesn't know where she's going for that day. She just walks and sees and explores the area, learns new things. And that in itself is a journey because you're learning so much about the environment. And once again, just improves your ability to be present. So I would really advocate for that as well. The third tip is go into your cell phones. So, turn off all your notifications, except those from people who might need to get your attention. This is more for the mind. It's more for your personal peace and your psyche. It can be so stressful when you get a bunch of notifications from a bunch of different apps or a bunch of different social media that just causes more stress than harm. More harm than anything else. Apologies for that. So sometimes it just helps to just take a breather. You don't have to turn off your notifications permanently, but just turning it off for the time being to just help you be more in sync with yourself and so that it doesn't cause you unnecessary stress. And also, you don't have to do it for everyone. You can genuinely just do it for the important people. Keep the notifications on for the important people so that you can just stress less. It goes a long way, especially during the times when you are overwhelmed and swamped. Then at least you've got your focal point and you don't have to focus on all the different notifications coming at you at once. So that really helps. The next tip is about setting an alarm for 30 minutes before your bedtime. So this one actually helps you grant time to your sleep the way it deserves. It reminds you that if you're going to go to bed, you need to start wrapping things up. So it prepares your mind so that you don't have to now, eventually when you get to bed, lie in bed and worry about trying to get to sleep and then sacrificing 2 or 3 hours of just you trying to fall asleep before you actually do fall asleep. And then you have to wake up 4 or 5 hours later and start your day, and then you're more exhausted than you were before you went to bed. So setting an alarm before you go to sleep helps to prepare your mind for what's to come and prepares your body as well, so that when your head eventually touches the pillow, you are able to then fall asleep a lot quicker. It doesn't have to be 30 minutes before. It can be an hour or two before, just so you can prep your brain. What I also like that works is setting a specific ringtone. So I have multiple alarms on my phone. An alarm that actually wakes me up, that forces me to get out of bed, and then other alarms that prepare me for when I have to wake up. So maybe you can set a specific ringtone for that specific alarm that warns your brain, almost trains your brain for the fact that you're going to be sleeping in a couple of minutes or in an hour or whatever. So you can do that, and your brain will pick it up. So every time that alarm goes off 30 minutes before you're going to sleep, then it knows that your body is going to sleep in a few, and it almost prepares you for that. So that is something worth really taking into. Moving on. So the next one is quite an interesting one, and one that I think also would work wonders. So, declare an end to the day, even if you haven't completed your to-do list. I know what you're thinking. Sometimes there's just so much to do in a day that you really just can't shut down. You have to keep pushing, regardless of the time, regardless of how late it is, regardless of whatever you have going on. But here's the thing about that. This means that if you run much later into the night and you're trying to push all the work that you need to do, it makes you quite exhausted for the next day. And if you haven't planned for it, as in plan to take a day off, then it really makes you so much more unproductive for the next day. So sometimes you have to just force yourself to declare an end to your day, where your mind just stops for the day, your activities stop, and you make preparations to go to sleep. That's when the whole alarm thing comes in as well. Once you've handled the day's essential priorities, you have to recognize that in any interesting job, it's almost impossible to do all you could have in any one day. So you need to take the time to recharge so that you can return to your work the next day ready to seize the opportunities. That's really important. You need to think about it from that perspective as well. Especially if you can actually avail time to sleep earlier, to move some of your activities to the next day, because then you are able to focus on at least the majority of the activities you've done in the present day, and still rest easy and wake up to finish off the activities from the previous day. Sometimes it also helps to just build in flexible time. The time that you put in your schedule to catch up on previous work that you've missed. That's actually crucial, because you will fall behind in activities. you won't necessarily finish everything in one day, every single day. So building inflexible time into your schedule helps to just create a space where you are able to utilize that time to work on things that you've fallen behind on. That makes a world of wonders in your schedule and in your overall mindset day to day. Okay, we're wrapping this up. So, the next one is one of my favorite ones. And this one is quite hard, I must admit. But just hear me out. So, pick a time at night when you turn off your devices and gently escort them out of your bedroom. Guys, this one is a miracle worker in my life. Let me tell you why. The second you get into bed and you're getting ready to sleep and you've got your phone next to you, your brain is just like, I'm sure you've got some time to just go into Instagram and check out, who liked your picture or who posted something online. Or I can quickly just check my WhatsApp stories today. I haven't checked them today, so I might as well just check them all at once, get it out of my system. Or, gosh, something was trending on Twitter today. I really, really want to check out what was trending. The thing is, the second you go to your phone and you've turned off the light in your room and you go to your phone and you turn on that bright light, the bright light from your phone seeps into your eyes and it almost jolts your brain awake again. So there is some scientific evidence behind that. I'm not going to get into the science about that, but it just jolts your brain awake, and then before you realize it, you're so deep into your thoughts, so deep into your phone, so deep into just reliving the day of WhatsApp, Instagram, and Twitter that you're wide awake, and now it makes it even harder for you to go to sleep. And then it also jolts extra stress in you because now you're stressing about this friend who posted that on that story, and now it's making you think about X, Y, and Z, and then you're like wide awake at that point. So that is so bad for your brain. It's so bad for your sleep patterns, and it just makes you once again more tired for the next day. It's tricky to work on now having to go from checking your notifications every night to not checking them at all. And turning your phone off might be hard, especially if you're thinking about, oh no, but what if there's a family emergency in the middle of the night and someone needs to contact me? Or what if I'm expecting a call really early in the morning? Or even, how am I supposed to turn my phone off if I'm setting my alarms on my phone? So this is now where I did something different in terms of this step. I also think like that, and I think it's very hard for me to leave my phone off for a very long period of time. So what I do is instead, I turn my mobile data off. I turn off the Wi-Fi, I turn off my mobile data so that I don't get notifications from anybody until when I wake up at my own prerogative, at my own time. And that allows me to sleep peacefully knowing that I'm not going to wake up to any notifications. And the thing is, for me, if people really need to reach me, they'll call me, they'll text me. If you send me a WhatsApp message, no matter how urgent it is, you can still call me or SMS me. That's why I just turned off my mobile data. But it also helps for me when I wake up. I feel so much more refreshed knowing that my phone is not going to be my first priority. Another thing that I do in the morning, that you can also do as an add-on to this tip, is I don't go to my phone right away when I wake up. I still do keep my phone next to me most days. I'm still working on reducing that. So I try not to get to my phone the very first thing that I wake up, because it's also a shock to your brain when your eyes are still like opening up nice and slowly, and then you grab your phone and you check your phone and you turn on your mobile data and all your notifications come rushing, and it's very stressful to your brain. So what I do is I'll wake up and I'll sit in bed, I'll reflect on the previous night, or I'll think about what I need to do for the day. I think about what I'm grateful for, which is really important to me. And then I'll read a book. I keep a book next to me. I'll read a book, or I'll read my Bible, or I'll just go through a couple of verses. That really helps me. And I would really advocate for that as well, especially considering how hectic notifications can be in the morning. So really just giving yourself a grace period for your body to wake up properly, for your brain to be refreshed, for your mind to be awake. then only then getting to your phone. And even when you do turn on your mobile data, don't now stare at the screen and allow all the notifications to rush in, bringing you stress. Turn on your mobile data, let the notifications come in as they want to. Put your phone down and make your bed or brush your teeth or do whatever you need to do, and allow the messages to come in by themselves nice and slowly. And then about a few minutes later, then you can go and check out your phone. So that is something that has worked wonders in my life. It really has just helped to make me feel a lot more calmer and be a lot more present. That is very important for me. And then last but not least, do an audit of your phone's home screen to reduce time-sapping distractions. So once you've unlocked your phone, you don't want to be almost shocked into like going into apps that might just stress you out, because they're right there. You've got easy access to them. You can just quickly jump into WhatsApp, or you can just quickly jump into Instagram because it's on your home screen. It's nice to have it there. It's very convenient, so you don't have to go all the way into your menu, search for the app, and then go into it. But sometimes that can also cause stress in itself, especially if you have maybe followers on Instagram that might bring you down instead of hyping you up. So now you've got easy access to that. So it's almost like you're subconsciously allowing yourself to just get down before you've even, like 5 seconds into opening your phone. So sometimes it's just better to maybe just move your apps around. You don't have to remove them completely, but just move them around so that that's not the first thing you stare at when you unlock your phone. And it doesn't distract you when you unlock your phone. If you have a timetable app, we're all in varsity, so we have timetable apps, or we have pictures of our timetables on our home screen. If you have a timetable app and then you open your phone and Instagram is like right next to it, it can also distract you from trying to figure out what your next class is, or trying to figure out whatever school-related thing you need to check, because now you want to see what's on Twitter. So sometimes the distractions aren't necessary. They're not needed, guys. Please just try to be mindful and just focus on practicing putting yourself first and figuring out what works for you. So those are a couple of tips that have worked for me, that I've gotten from the Thrive organization, that I really think could work very well for you too. They're very small tips. They're too small to fail, as I've indicated. And they're all about building habit. It's about just getting yourself used to the fact that, you just need to make a change. And it can be a small change, because then it builds the willpower to create even more wins and good habits. There's a quote on the article from Thrive that says, the more you succeed, the more capable you get at succeeding in the future. So you don't start with the hardest behaviors first. You start with the ones you want to do and you can do and you can persist at. So do the small changes, even if you're not feeling strong enough to do big changes, or you don't know where to begin with the big changes. These are just small things that you can do within yourself to just help you start doing the work. And trust me when I say small changes can also add up to a massive transformation and help you just become a better version of yourself. So please just think about it from that perspective as well. And I do encourage you to look for more tips, big and small, that can work for you to help you just get on this pursuit towards finding your breakthrough. We all have different journeys and we all do things at our own pace. So please don't rush yourself. Please do remember it takes 21 days to develop a routine and making habit of whatever you do decide to do. So be patient with yourself and allow these activities to do the work in you. That's it from me. Thank you so much for listening. Please do follow the Breakthrough Sessions under the Breakthrough Projects organization on Instagram. And please like and subscribe to this podcast and rate and review it, please. Thank you so much. Please do have a great few weeks, and you'll hear from me again in the next 2 weeks. All right, goodbye for now.
And that's a wrap on today's session. Remember, breakthroughs don't happen all at once. They unfold in the moments we choose to keep going, to start again, to believe that more is possible. If this episode spoke to you, share it with someone who needs a reminder that their story isn't over. And as you go, keep rising, keep pushing, and most of all, keep believing. This is the Breakthrough Sessions podcast, where every ending is just a new beginning. Until next time.